he's just such a he's a beast with that. With it just all feels so
Man,
good.
it's
And then there's live playing on it too.
oh
But
man,
yeah.
it's really
But yeah, it's
yeah.
it was really
I'm
fun to
sure a lot of us.
when you got somebody a
Mm.
producer doing that, you don't need to be doing it yourself.
Cool. Yeah. So that was Julian's question. I'm gonna do a rapid fire segment with you. We have Shane who works with my wife and I, and he's collating all the questions in the chat. So we're gonna do a rapid fire. A lot of it is about gear, so you don't have to take too long. Just fire away. Which read name and style number?
Van Dorn 2.5 blue box traditionals.
And it says, "Hi Eric, can you share about your alto? What pads are you using now?"
I think they're just traditional pads, but last time I had this horn completely overhauled, I had it done by Ivan here in Los Angeles, and he used the secret red treatment on it. Rumor has it it's just red spray paint.
So this is Ivan. Do you have what will be his full name in case people wanna?
I don't know. He's originally from the Ukraine,
Okay.
and I don't know that anybody knows his last name. I've never even heard his last name mentioned. It's just everybody knows Ivan.
Okay. Okay.
Actually, the repair guy I go to here in Orange County is a protege of Jeff Peterson, Mike Cleveland from Bertrand's Music, Horn Improvement at Bertrand's Music, and he's like I said, a protege of Jeff Peterson, who is one of the greats.
Yeah.
Now Yamaha scooped him up and he's designed all.
Yes.
Made so many huge
Yes.
design changes on the Yamaha horns, but anyway, yeah.
Okay. So
pads.
do you know?
Not
Are you using like metal resonators on those pads or plastic resonators?
Original metal flat
Okay.
resonators. Yeah, not
Okay.
the waffle ones, but the original, the Mark 6 resonators are really sought after. So be
Okay.
careful. Don't let a shady repairman steal those pads off your original Mark 6. Man, you gotta make sure.
Nice. So you've been just telling all your repair technicians to keep the same resonators, just change the pads and make sure they reuse the original ones, right?
The original, yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
Wow.
Big
So
deal.
original Selmer flat resonators. Nice. Now, oh, okay. So how? Oh, okay. So the link you're sending me, right? Okay. Sorry, Eric. We had a slight issue. The whole video restarted and regenerated again. So I'm just sharing with people the new link. Sorry about that. First time it has ever happened in 2 months. Okay, hold on. Okay. Sorry, we'll hold off the questions and then. Okay, wow. It's just crazy. Technology, man, Eric, the number of things that can go wrong. Even yesterday during the show. Okay, we are resharing second part of the link, right? I'll change it on my side. Okay.
How will people get the new link?
We're sending it in the chat, so they'll just click it and then jump over. Okay. 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 Eric, I send you the new link as well, in case you want to go in your email. I think okay lah. Once people come in. Okay. All right, slowly people are coming back into the new chat. Yeah, they're slowly coming back in. Eric, would you mind? Maybe you can play, any of your songs. It doesn't have to be from the new album. We can play it and then people can listen to it as we wait for the rest to join back.
Or play a song?
Just play the audio of any song you feel like sharing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, we are back. Let me pull up the chat again. That tune was just great. All right, so we're gonna carry on the rapid fire questions where we left off. Have you tried the Selma Reference 54?
Yes.
I guess next follow-up question: how do you find it?
It's good. I am just a Mark 6 guy. So for me, the Mark 6 is my comfort zone. Reference 54 is a good instrument for sure. But the Mark 6 is my baby.
Nice. We have a question here from Jared. Jared says, "Hey Daniel, could you ask Eric to talk some about his time with the Gordon Goodwin Big Phat Band? His playing kept me during my teenage years and a good part of why I primarily play alto today."
Awesome. Yeah, I still in band, obviously. As a matter of fact, we're doing a series of tunes right now while we're all locked down. Everybody has a home studio. And so we've recorded 2 tunes so far. One's called 6 Feet Away, and the other one's called The Reset, which is one of the wildest tunes Gordon's ever written. So, he's in a mood. But really great. I mean, being in that band is, it's as much fun socially as it is musically. It really, really is. I've known Gordon since I was 18 years old. And I've known Wayne since shortly after that, and Sal and Andy, and just everybody. Mostly, and it just really is. And the band just plays at such a high level. It's a collection of studio musicians, and so we're all readers, and we all, and Gordon is very prolific, so we get to play a lot of different music, and it really is fun. And that band has had a lot of influence on a lot of musicians for sure. Student musicians and older musicians.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think I read an interview with Gordon somewhere. He was saying it's not easy to keep this band going because you guys are being pulled left, right, center by other gigs and other musicians. Because you guys are very in demand, so it's probably a really difficult logistical challenge to keep the band with all its members intact, because you guys have no lack of gigs for sure. So has that been the case? Do you feel it's sometimes hard to find maybe a substitute for yourself when you have to go out on tour?
Well, that's kind of, if you're in the band, you need your own sub, because I understand that, I'm a band leader of 4 guys, sometimes 5, and that's hard enough. Try to, herd 18 musicians that are all busy working studio musicians, and trying to find stuff for the guys who can't do the gigs. I mean, invariably I do, and I have to sub out quite a lot. So it is our responsibility to find a sub, and it's kind of like, the 6th man on the basketball bench. You've got to find somebody who is, reasonably, comfortable with the music. I play lead alto, and so it's a little bit of a harder, because it's the lead in the sax section. It's a bit of a harder chair just to jump into. Yeah. So usually, if I don't do it, Sal Lozano will scoot over and play lead part and get us up the second alto part. Which is no harder, no easier, but a little less exposed, I suppose. Yeah, and there's a handful of guys in town who have played it enough to feel comfortable.
Nice. And here we have a question from Adrian. How do we practice inflections besides listening to lots of our favorite saxophonists?
Always make sure your air, don't let up on your air. If you, I get to play again. So inflections are, number one, less is more. So if you really, really study, players that play with a lot of inflection, scoops and bends and whatnot, you'll find that, it doesn't take much to convey the emotion. And so overdoing it is unnecessary and distracting. So, be careful of that. And then also just, when you actually do it, it really is a matter of following through with the air, Keep blowing through. as you're playing, you've got to make sure that you have you're continuing the sound. You know that whether you're playing something with inflection or playing a phrase of a series of notes, a motif, a phrase, melody, whatever. Play it as if you're playing one note, one long tone. So don't let your air go back and forth. As the contours of the melody. It's not like at the pinnacle of a melody you're playing with more air, and conversely, when you're playing the subtle part of a line, maybe a note that's a little more ghosted, if you let up too much on the air, then that note is going to be is going to disappear. And so it's one thing to have contour in your melodies, but to have it contour unintentionally, where the air is going back and forth. The air is the bed. It's the bedrock of your playing. So you've got to maintain that. So when you do that little turn, that that thing, that's like just one little vibration of a vibrato, just one little vub. Anyway, just keep blowing through those inflections, and it'll sound a lot better. And just don't overdo it.
Do you personally find that, let's say, in certain keys or certain parts of the saxophone, do you find it harder to do some of your trills and turns, at certain places of the saxophone?
Of course, yeah. I mean, certain keys lend themselves to certain kinds of playing. I mean, it'd be hard to play. Be hard to do that in some of the other keys because it's just so, again, certain things just are just much more comfortable finger wise in certain keys. So
would you your approach, would it be to keep practicing until you could one day play them really smoothly in those parts, or just tell yourself it's okay to do something else in when you're playing a song in that key, in that region?
Well, I mean, you don't want to avoid certain keys just because you can't play your favorite lick in that particular key. I mean, that's wrong. But naturally, I mean, just like we all sort of tend to gravitate to certain foods that we like more than others. We tend to gravitate as writers, or players, towards keys that we like the sound of, or the playability. Like with Get Here. We did it in D flat major. It's a very unusual key. Alita does it in B flat, but it just, and I really, it was a cool key. It was a cool key to play it on alto because it's really very middle of the horn, so I could go up, and there was a lot of range, both up and down, to play with, but beyond that. Every key has it. Gordon Goodwin actually taught. I've got his pictures over here. That's why I keep doing this. Gordon says that keys have every bit as much that add to the character of a song every bit as much as the rest of the harmony does. And so, if a singer, for instance, wants to do something that he's arranged in a different key, he won't just like just like hit transpose in the arrangement and boom, he's done. He'll redo the arrangement because it's just, certain keys won't lend themselves to, not because of the range of instruments, just because of the vibe of the sound of the key. So that range for Get Here. And going up to the octave B, the high B flat is a weird note. That was kind of the compromise. I'm pretty sure I played one on the record, but it's among the extreme high notes. That's the least, as you well know, the least friendly note, really.
Yeah.
So, but overall, the key just felt good.
Nice. And this one is from Chris. He says, if you're not playing the saxophone, what other instruments will you be playing?
Well, I do play flute and I do play
Mm,
the clarinet.
mm,
Honestly, the clarinet is not my, you're not gonna. Eddie Daniels has got nothing to worry about. Put it that way. But I live near Los Angeles, and so I'm a studio musician, and I make
mm,
chunk of my living
mm,
playing on soundtracks, movie soundtracks, TV and
mm,
such.
mm.
And so you never know exactly when you do a film call, you never know
Yeah.
exactly what you're going to get. Now I'm, admittedly, I'm more of a saxophone soloist, but I do double so
Mm,
that well enough so that I don't have to turn down a movie call. If you get a call for a
mm,
juicy film, and the instrumentation call comes
mm,
out, and they
mm,
say, okay, we want you to play alto, and tenor
mm,
and clarinet,
mm,
or
mm.
alto and flute. You know, if that happens for me, perfectly honestly, I'll find out. If because I've been in situations where I got a call and it was tenor and clarinet, and it was a
Mm,
big film,
mm.
which meant that was going to be good payday straight away, and then
Yeah.
down the road, so I didn't want to turn it down. But I called and I said, hey, um, is it some serious clarinet? Because if it's like some
Mm,
major solos, I'm not really that guy.
mm,
And they said, no, it's just a little bit of clarinet. It's mostly saxophone. I said, okay, great, awesome. So you get to the session about an hour early, as most guys do, and you want to, check out the music.
yeah.
And I opened the folder, and it was a double session, which means, you had the 3 hour session in the morning, the 3 hour session in the afternoon. So there was a pile of music, and I opened my book, and first tune's clarinet. Okay, okay, I can do that. Next, clarinet. The person I talked to got it wrong. It was actually a
Oh
little bit of
no.
saxophone and mostly clarinet. So I took the book out to my car. I didn't want anybody to see this. And I get on the passenger side of my car, and I've got my clarinet together in the car, and I think in this session I got in there like an hour and a half early because I was really wanted to make sure that one clarinet part that I was worried about,
Yeah.
something I had. And so by the time I actually, got into the session, went back in the studio and played, I had it together, I guess. But there was some serious trepidation there for a little while. I
Wow.
aged a lot in the first 5 minutes.
That's crazy. I'm sure you've been in all sorts of situations in LA, all sorts of recordings and shows. One more question here. That was quite interesting. Um, from Ben, how do you make altissimo fit in musically and not just to hit the high notes for the sake of it?
Yeah, very super duper good question. The question I always get with this mouthpiece of mine invariably is like, how is it to play high notes? What is it to play notes? On these free lessons that I'm giving
Mm,
for people who buy
mm,
the mouthpiece.
yes.
Um, uh, you know, I don't think there's been anybody who hasn't asked about,
Mm,
how do you play this high note, and how do you finger this high note, and therefore, it really is. You just have to be, um, I mean, you do anything too much, and it's going to not be good. People aren't going to
mm,
like it.
mm.
It's like the exclamation point at the end of a sentence when you play. You know, you know, it has to be part of the music that you hear. And if you're just doing it, it's an interesting thing about music, man. It's all about truth, and you can just hear it if you're going for
Mm,
something that you don't really believe in, or you're doing it gratuitously, or whatever. But if you're feeling something, you know, um,
mm,
a lot that's kind of the Kenny G phenomenon. I mean, I never had anything against Kenny G, not at
mm,
all. I mean, he
mm,
brought our music to a lot of people back in the
mm.
80s, still
Yeah,
does, obviously,
yeah,
but back when he really became hugely popular,
yeah,
it was great for all instrumentalists, quite
yeah.
frankly. And but all the people that just oh man, such a sellout, and all that. My reaction, whether I personally like I do personally like, Kenny G's playing. I think he's actually a very, very good saxophone player, and can't knock him at all. just because he became very popular, is that really a reason to, to knock somebody? I don't think so. But people would say, oh man, anybody can do that. It's such a cop out, and it was a phenomenon. He sold millions of records. My answer was always, well, if if he's if what he's doing, the reason he's so successful is because he's selling out, then why aren't more people able to do that? It can't be easy. And the answer is that it's totally him. Vale Johnson, the bass player in his band, I've known forever. And he's been in that band forever.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's just when Kenny practices, that's what he sounds like. It's not like he's dumbing down or anything to do what he does to be more popular. It's totally honest. It's him. And so, in the same way that Charlie Parker was totally him, or Paul Desmond, or Michael Brecker, or Sam Porter, anybody you can think of who's really just very successful and popular. You can't, I can't say it, I can't say it in public, but you can't, snow anybody. You gotta, when you play, it's got to be from the heart, or else people are gonna know.
Yeah, that's really nice to hear from you. And Kenny G sounds amazing on his alto and tenor as well. Great tone, great playing. But man, actually, I suddenly thought of a question, because Kenny G gets a really, really bright tone on soprano, which I'm not thoroughly a fan of. I love his playing, but the tone, because when you mic it on right at the bell, it gets a very bright and tone, which for sure he loves and he's been famous for. But for me, I usually mic the body of the straight soprano saxophone. Is that what you do as well? I see live you would have a standing mic as well as your clip-on still. Is that so? You're trying to blend the two sounds?
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Having that microphone right on the bell of the soprano, the soprano's right here. To mic it right here is going to, like you said, it's going to pick up a lot of the high end, not much of the rest of the horn. And so to have a little combination of having this, mic about here, maybe, so you pick up, some of that, and then a microphone about here, so that you pick up the body as well. Having the combination is nice.
Yeah. How about in the studio? Would you do that double mic as well, or just one on the body?
I personally don't, only because you get phasing. I did too, actually, a lot, where because it'll be subtle depending on where you put the mic, but some people like that phasing and like the fact that you're getting some of the room too. So it's a very tricky thing to try to record, and I've tried it with no success. So, and it sounds good to me just just in the body. You pick up the whole horn really well. If you record just on the bell, it's going to be very, very, and if you record too far away, it's going to be very, very roomy because the horn's not so loud. So you're going to get a lot of the room, not a lot of the direct sound. So having it about I tend to get a little closer, maybe 6-7 inches off the left hand seems to be ideal for me.
Okay, that's really interesting. And what microphone do you use for yourself at home when you record?
You can't really see it here. It's down here, but I have my Mojave MA300 made by Royer right here in LA. Fantastic microphone that Tommy Vicari, one of the main engineers at Capitol, uses on all the saxophones and woodwinds.
Wow.
It's very, if you like Neumann, 87 for sure, 67 even. Then, but you don't want to spend, $10,000 on a 67. This mic at about $1,200 is really awesome. I think it was patterned after that. I mentioned Tommy because whenever we do sessions at Capitol, Capitol Records has one of the best microphone collections in the world, and so he could put all 67s up for everybody in the woodwind section or saxophones, and he uses these instead.
Oh, wow. Cool. We'll definitely check this out after this. And people are saying, where's Eric's tenor?
Oh, it's right there.
Yeah, cool. You know, I've always loved. I mean, you sound amazing on all the instruments. I think maybe now might be a good time if you would like to do one more song with us. But maybe if you wanted, one on soprano or tenor, any of your tunes that you might want to share with us, if there is a chance.
I don't know what tracks I would have that would be. I can play some a cappella on those instruments. I feel like Ron Burgundy. I'm really not prepared. I'm just not prepared.
We're putting you in a spot here.
Track-wise, I mean, let's see. Well, I'll play a little debut, the tenor mouthpiece prototype.
Oh, wow.
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 There it is. It's
we didn't plan for this for sure.
No, I didn't. Definitely did. This is going to be.
You're gonna invoice me a lot more for this already.
Yeah. Check it
Wow. And man, and you just got that yesterday, so it's no you're just don't even need time to get used to it. And you were playing your previous tenor mouthpiece for, I'm sure, a really long time as well.
I bought this tenor. This is also a vintage Mark 6 from Bob Shepard, one of the guys at Retro Revival who puts out my mouthpiece. And I bought this tenor for $1,100 in early 80s for sure. And I know I had that mouthpiece before I even owned the tenor. Before I bought this tenor, I used as a community college nearby, and they had a tenor that I borrowed for a while. I mean, a couple of years for sure. They let me sign it out. I was in the band and I kept the tenor. And finally they said, well, you're not going to school anymore, so we kind of need the tenor back. So I had to buy one. And so I was at Bob's when we were kind of talking about this mouthpiece last week. I was trying to, we were both trying to figure out when I got that mouthpiece. So yeah, it's been a very long time, and this one.
Yeah, really man, good. It really sounds good. And this is really no pre-planning. You didn't practice 28 hours a day just to make that sound good. It came like this out of the box, man. And I think that really says a lot. Because a lot of people are putting out signature model stuff, and I think a lot of the questions at the back of people's mind is, do they really love it? Do they, really stand by it? Or is it just because there's the name on it? I mean, you literally got this yesterday, and coming off a mouthpiece you played more than 30 years, it's just amazing to hear. And everyone is saying, what a big, bold sound, beautiful, wow. And people are saying, yeah, we can't catch Eric off guard. So I'm throwing things at you, and yeah, you're well prepared. Wow. And read ready, and Adrian says the mid-range frequency is amazing. He can hear the core. People are like, dang, Roxy from Philippines. She's
Roxy!
watching.
Hey, of course.
Yes. That's amazing. So everyone is like, wow, wow, wow.
Roxy with the cool tattoo on your shoulder. I know Roxy.
Yeah, so it's great that everyone can, reconnect on this show here as well. And, Eric, we would love to have you on for 12 hours if we could. But, I know it's getting late over there where you are, but, we can definitely do another session down the road. But before I leave, I want to share with our audiences some exciting news coming up as well. And I wanted to share, about your course on artist works, your saxophone course, because a lot of I see that there were a lot of questions on saxophone. Saxophone specific, but I didn't want to bore the rest of those watching who are not into saxophone specifically. So, Eric has a course on artist works which you can subscribe on their website. We'll drop the links later as well. That has hundreds of videos there, and I'm sure all the questions that you have regarding saxophone is answered in that course. It's a subscription model. You can pay either 3, 6, or 12 months straight, and the price of course goes down if you go for a full year subscription. You have access to all the videos, and you even have access to video submissions to Eric himself. That's just incredible. You can submit your playing, and he will reply with any things that you can work on or improve on. And I think that's just worth the subscription fee itself already. So please, if you want to learn saxophone from Eric Marienthal, do look at the Artist Works course. Subscribe. I'm gonna do it myself after this crazy week we've had, and to really get down on it. And Eric also gives private saxophone lessons as well, 1-to-1, so you can find his contact. We're not going to release his contact information here, but all I can say is if you look hard enough, you'll be able to contact him. So you can try all his social media platforms as well, or his website. And if you want it enough, I'm sure you know where to find Eric and get hold of him for his 1-to-1 private saxophone lessons. And speaking of, Facebook page works, so that's great. Get in contact with him, and we have many more exciting. Eric has many more exciting news that he's gonna announce soon. And Eric, I would say this would be probably one of the first few live streams that you've been part of. I saw you did one with Gordon Goodwin as well on the Artist Works platform, but I'm sure Eric is excited to play more, even though from his room, from his studio now. But Eric is definitely going to be having more shows streamed live, so do look out for that. The best way is to keep updated on his social media platforms. Okay, so Eric Marienthal music, do check it out, both Facebook and Instagram. And if you guys want more saxophone related masterclasses, we wanted this show to try to, appeal to a wide range of people and not just only saxophonists, but we're going to have a series of masterclasses coming up that will help, to address purely saxophone concerns as well, and ask your questions, and Eric can share a lot more. So we're going to be releasing news of that very, very soon, and it's so exciting, and it's just a rare chance to connect with Eric, because he travels half the year. To be honest, if there wasn't COVID, this, all these live streams or online masterclasses may not really have happened. But man, we can't change the past, but let's move forward. And Eric is more than happy to connect to the people who love his music, especially here in Asia. It's a 15-hour time difference. It's almost a 24-hour flight to get from Singapore to LA. So a lot of the private lessons, unless now through Zoom and through online communication methods, is all possible. So we're going to bring that to you. I know Eric is always eager to play and to share, and we're just going to make that happen for everyone who is watching, and we're going to get the word out even more. So once again, Eric, thank you so much for being on this show. And and so many amazing things happened that wasn't planned. We got to hear your new music. We got to hear the new mouthpiece that now everyone knows is gonna come out, and we got to draw connections. Everyone is saying in the chat that, hey Eric, remember they met you and they have fond memories of that. So I'm glad this show had a chance to reconnect. So before we end off, shall we do one final tune? So this one I also sprung on Eric very last minute, literally just before the show. I just thought, just now we did a tune together of his, and I thought it'd be really cool that if Eric joined me on one of my tunes, and we're gonna end off this amazing session with a tune of mine that I wrote called Grace. It's from my first album called In the Moment. If you like a copy, do reach out. If you want to support this show, and you can contribute to the PayPal codes, and the information we'll send over. And yeah, so we're going to end off with this tune called Grace. thank you so much for playing that together with me. There was a tune I wrote called Grace, and man, it works just amazing as a duet. And thank you so much, Eric, once again. If you guys are still in the comments, do give us a thumbs up. Hope you guys enjoyed this show and look forward to a lot more exciting news. If you want Eric's mouthpiece, go get it. His artist works course, his new album is coming. Yes, and you get a free 30-minute lesson with Eric. If you buy his mouthpiece, and if you want the Ishimori ligatures to go with it, you can look for me. And yes, we're definitely gonna see Eric very much more online, in this medium for now, till everything, hopefully this world gets back to its normal pace. But for now, you guys get to connect with Eric on a much closer and more intimate method. So do look out for that. Follow him on all his social media platforms. And if you guys are new to this channel, do subscribe and click on the notification button for more videos to come and more amazing guests as well. So, Eric. Oh, yes.
Sorry, I do have a new website, ericmarienthal.com. So
yes.
We have a great friend who put that together for us.
Nice. Yeah, I saw it. Really nice. But I think one thing missing now is your equipment page. So I know I myself used to love to see your equipment page. So like the old website, so maybe, something. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people like to just, quickly get a sense of what you're playing across all your instruments. So yeah, but definitely looks great. Nice, refreshed website. And yeah, thank you so much. Any last words from Eric for all the people who are watching?
No, number one, I appreciate you doing this, and
No problem.
you mentioned the masterclass and performance series that we're putting together, putting that together with you, and I'm very honored that you want to do that with me.
Can't wait. Yeah,
there'll be information about that on my site, and all the different things will, all that. It's going to be very fun. Thank you so much for this opportunity to reach out to so many people. Thanks for doing what you're doing, man.
No problem. Thank you so much again, and we're not gonna hold you back. And yeah, guys, see you guys at the next show. I do at least weekly. I might slow down after all this crazy madness this week. So but definitely I'll be doing my live stream shows as usual, putting out lots of content for you guys. So do subscribe and follow, and please look for Eric Marienthal online. Check out all his music available online, and you'll definitely not regret it. So thank you, and have a good day. If it's Saturday night, good night to you guys. If it's Sunday afternoon here, hope you guys will have a great end of the weekend and a fantastic week next week. So thank you, and see you guys.